Well, I was told we were going to have an assembly, regular pep rally. The Texas Commissioner was going to come over and he was going to talk to the kids and tell them what a great job they've done here at Clinton High School. We were voted A-rated campus last year, so we were excited about the visit. I had no clue that I was going to be selected. I was in the crowd joking with some of my students that, well, that's going to be me watching there, and it happened. So I was just that shocked. Well, I was nervous because I knew I was going to have to say something. So I was already kind of preparing my mind of what can I say. I want to thank everyone in attendance, of course. But I had moved a few steps over because some kids were talking while the speaker was talking. And then they asked me, like, is that going to be you, sir? And I jokingly said, yeah, that's going to be me, watch. And here I am walking down the stairs. But it was very, what's the word I'm looking for? I was just shocked, honestly. The teaching field is dying and a lot of good educators are leaving because it's rough. It's a lot of expectation from you. So I think it's doing good and attracting a lot of talent to the classroom. Whenever you have employee of Google, Apple, being able to teach computer science, you have people who worked in aviation and they're able to teach avionics technicians, and you have people who worked in the field in various topics, and you can bring that into the classroom. That just excels the learning. The rigor goes up and students respect that and they see that and they appreciate it. So I think it's very important in that aspect that it brings a different kind of talent into the classroom. So I was born and raised here in El Paso, Texas. I loved cars since I was little, and I just had a passion. I was very fortunate to know that I loved cars at a young age because I just had tunnel vision, and I loved it so much that I started learning how to work on cars, and I wanted to work on the design side. So I went to school. I graduated from UTEP in mechanical engineering, so I got my Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Shortly after, I had looked over for work, and I had a position offer in Texas Instruments, and after talking it over with the wife, we decided to stay home. And we had a deal. I said, if I don't find a job in the first 6 months, we're going to leave El Paso. And she said, that's fine, but you have to do your part, and you have to look for work. So I said, okay, that's fair enough. So I came here, and that was the first job because they had an available position for an automotive instructor. So I said, I could see myself doing that. And I came, I met Dr. Ritchie, and as soon as I dropped off my resume, I said, you know what? Everybody applies online, but nobody ever meets the person that applies online. So I wanted to just shake your hand and get to meet you. And the very next day he called me, when can you start? And I started in February, and the school year was going to end in May. So I just kind of got thrown into the classroom at that time. But it's been almost 10 years now. It's gone by so quick, but that's kind of my backstory, a little bit how I started. I think a great teacher is a student themselves, and I think you have to expose yourself to want to continue learning. I almost feel like I never got to jump into my field, and sometimes I crave that troubleshooting mentality that I have. So I try to expand my own learning, and in that moment, I kind of put myself in the student's mind to where if I had to learn something, how do I want to be taught? And that's kind of how I kind of view teaching. Sometimes I have students of all kinds of language barriers, economic, different disparities. And I try to see if I was in that position or try to backtrack in time when I was in high school. What was things that I needed to be fundamental to my learning so that I can scaffold that learning, and that's kind of how I go about and I approach teaching. I think I put myself on the other side of the student, and that's been 10 years now, trying to do that. So I started teaching here at Clinton High School. When I first started, we just had electives. We didn't have, automotive was never looked at as a career. And when we started, I had an assistant principal who had told me, why don't we get these kids certified? I said, why not? And we started kind of looking over, talked to assistant superintendent. He said, hey, you know what, let's start getting the process for MOUs created the MOUs, created the coursework. I was able to qualify as a credentialed instructor through the college because of my background. And we decided to start the first P-TECH in all of El Paso, Texas. We are the first P-TECH in all of Region 19, and the only one that offers it through the automotive path. That's, well, 3-4 years ago when we started. I don't know if that's still the case. I think we are, but I would have to double check. But I think we still are one of the only ones. And we started it in shortly after the pandemic, and we've been going at it every single year. Every single cohort that comes in, I have a lot of students, a lot of good talent around here. A lot of students work in the farms, and they already have that technical knowledge, and it's applied in the right direction. And I can't take no credit for it. It's really my students, the ones that really shape that future for the next cohort and the next cohort. But it's been a good run.